Hey guys, welcome to Sippin' and Spillin' with Sid from 3 Mississippi. How are y'all doing today? Today's actually Saturday. I'm filming this one a little bit early. Usually I film it, Sunday after church. But right now we are at a friend of ours from church's property, and we were making a little bird delivery. He wanted some more birds for this beautiful lake that you see behind me. And it goes all the way around here and all the way back there. It's huge. He's got this big pontoon boat over here. I'll walk you guys around in a second and show you a little bit. It'll be a little preview for Tuesday's video on 3 Mississippi. But dropped off 8 Muscovies to him, some hens and some boys. And he actually has 2 Muscovy drakes that I saw out here that I think might be mules mixed with something else. But I can't tell what, but they're definitely have the Muscovy look to a degree, and then they're also doing the huffing and the thing, So they're definitely part that for sure. So that's kind of cool. And he's got a bunch of geese out here and some other kinds of ducks, and so it's pretty cool. And it's a beautiful property, and it's a beautiful day today too. So Mike and Frankie are already fishing. Trey's over here trying to get a hook on his line. 30 minutes later. Apparently he messed up getting on, so now he's trying to fix it. But just giving him a hard time. You guys can't even see him. He's standing at the tailgate. There he is. So you guys, I know he's not Mike, so you guys can't hear him, but he's back there trying to fix it. And we're gonna go back to our place after we finish here and do some burgers. And we are we're going to do it today, but we ran out of time. They were working in the garden and doing a few other things, odds and ends out and about on the property today. And they were going to take the 2 of the tires that are flat on Frankie's truck. We're going to take those off, throw them in the back of my truck, and I'll take them to Chickasaw Tire in town and get those fixed. And then bring them back. That way we can at least move the vehicle, when we need to move it into the shop or, somewhere, we can move it a little bit without having to, inflate a tire and then quickly do it. And that way they can kind of start working on it a little bit more now that Frankie has her learner's permit and the clock is ticking before she turns 16. So. She drove a little bit today. She drove Mike's Honda. We took 2 vehicles because I had the ducks in the truck. And I also didn't know if I was going to stay the whole time that they're fishing. But so we'll see, because I do have to get home and start cooking my portion of stuff for them for dinner tonight, because the burgers themselves won't take very long. But yeah, so we had a nice kind of day today. It wasn't super crazy busy. We didn't work on any major projects or anything. But I am excited because I still have more eggs in my incubator. I've got more Muscovies in there. I've got more turkey eggs in there, which I'm a little iffy on because that turkey wasn't really sitting real great, and they were sitting in a weird spot. So I actually pulled all the turkey and duck eggs from the one nest that were together, and then I pulled the goose eggs that the girls were sitting on. But I don't have super high hopes for most of those goose eggs. I need to candle them again. I took a few out that were definitely bad, but sometimes with the geese, it's really hard to tell because the shells are really thick. And even in a pitch black room, when you're candling it, it's just so hard to tell. It's just so hard to tell. And the last thing you want to do is pull one and pitch it and have it, be one that was viable. So definitely want to double, triple check before I toss anything. But I managed to sell the 2 goslings that I did have left, or that did hatch, and are thriving. They're doing great. I posted them. I waited until they were about almost 2 weeks, right about 2 weeks old, because I like to get them through that first week for sure, just to make sure that there's no failure to thrive. They're doing well. They're gaining weight. All that good stuff. So I was able to sell those two. I still have them, but I'm meeting the gal to exchange. She's actually coming from Tennessee. So I'll be meeting her in Tupelo next week, and she paid me a deposit, so I'm not worried, you know, and of course, you know, exchange numbers, I'll touch base with her, but she strikes me as, I had so many people, as soon as I posted it, I had so many people like, do you still have them? Do you still have them? I want them, I want them. Because they're hard to come by, and if you buy them from a hatchery, they're expensive. Not that they're not expensive, you know, from somebody who's just breeding them, but the hatchery prices are always a lot more for some of these birds versus if you can find somebody who's doing it. And the quality is not necessarily always any better in that sense. But anyway, so I'm happy they'll have a new home and they'll be in Tennessee. And so I'll get those out. So Mike's happy because he was like, man, you made a decent amount on birds this week. And I was like, yeah, you know, like when I can actually incubate them and get them going and do all the things, yeah. So, and if I am able to hatch out all these turkey eggs, then I might sell a few of them, but I think I'll probably hang on to the turkeys because we can process those. I love some good turkey. So process those, and I'll make a bunch of ground turkey this time. I'll have him process it, break it all down, and I'll grind a bunch of it and pressure can some of it probably. And then I'll do big batches of turkey stock. So that'll be good. So we'll see how many of those eggs end up being viable and how that goes. But because like I said, I did like pull them from the nest. So sometimes there's a couple things that happen there is you don't know what day they're on. So, you know, but also I always look at it like, you know, nature finds a way generally. So your hatch rate may not be as good if you knew exactly what day they started sitting and exactly what day they laid them and like all of the things. But birds still exist in nature. They find a way. They don't, you know, it is what it is. So I think that I will still have a few hatch out. They did show signs, and I pulled the ones that had no signs of development. But I did have several that were showing signs of development when I put them all in the incubator the other day. But I am going to check them again because there's always my big fear is, you know, you get that one bad egg in there that then cooks and explodes, and you don't want that. And because I don't know what day I am on with the eggs, it's definitely more of a struggle. But you know, when you have eggs in the nest, the mom moves them, and yes, she does kind of lock herself down 3 days prior to hatch, but also not. Like I've seen my birds when they're broody, and they continue to move the eggs right up until the last minute sometimes. Sometimes while they're hatching. So with no real like repercussions of that, you know. And yes, you want them to be able to orient themselves in the shell so they can get out the right way, but they also kind of figure it out, I found. So again, not knowing exactly what day I'm on, I think they're about halfway to 3/4 of the way through their gestation inside their egg, if you will. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye, and I'm just gonna keep checking them and candling them and see what happens, and then I'll have more babies that I can sell. And then one of our neighbors down the road, there was a fire yesterday, not too far from us. They lost a bunch of stuff in their shop, vehicles and things like that, and it was going off in our group chat and our neighborhood group chat. And Mike happened to see it. He happened to have it open on his computer, so he went down there to help. And you know, Mike has some firefighting experience, if you will, from his Navy days and being on the ship. And so he got in there and started doing his thing. And one of our neighbors, Tim, stopped by later just to kind of thank him because he's on the volunteer fire department, and just to kind of thank him or whatever and bring us some barbecue sauce that he made. And so I, of course, sent him home with some eggs, and he had, I guess Mike had been talking to him about the backstrap that we barbecued last night, and so he gave him a couple pieces of that, and I was like, well, I made a bunch of potatoes, so I gave him some potatoes. So I sent him home with not hungry. So hopefully Linda wasn't too mad at me for sending him home full of food, but anyway, so they've actually been talking about wanting to start some chickens. And I said, well, look, after I get this round out of the incubator, it'll be a barnyard mix, because I don't have, I've got this random rooster right now. And my Australops that I have, that I did a straight run of, you know, I'm bound to have at least one rooster in there. And then I'll have my girls. And so I'll be able to separate and have just Australop chicks. But for right now, I don't have that ability. So that being said, they were like, oh yeah, we don't care as long as they lay eggs. I don't care what they look like. I don't care what color the eggs are. Just, that'd be great. So I was like, cool, I'll let you know when I get them started, basically. So, but yeah, so it's been a busy couple of days, and a nice couple of days. I wish I did go to bed a little bit later last night than I planned, and then I did get up an hour later than I planned. I think I got up at like 7 something. But I needed to just lay in bed a little bit longer this morning, which is okay. Sometimes we need that. So, and then next weekend's Mike's birthday. So we're going to have some people over, barbecue again. Mike will probably tell me what he wants later. I would tell him, though, you need to tell me by Tuesday, because I got to go to Tupelo Tuesday. So if there's anything specific that you want food-wise, you know, I'm sure he's going to want to grill something, you know, either some venison or I don't know what, but we'll have some of that stuff going, and then whatever sides he wants. If there's a specific side he wants that I can't get from town, that I'll have to go to, you know, Tupelo for, I'll get that. But, you know, it'll be fine. So, so yeah, so I'm excited to celebrate another year of Mike, if you will, and get that next. It's kind of like the kickoff for spring. You know, it's usually like the last frost. It's usually around the time I see my first hummingbirds coming back. So it'll be nice. And all my hostas are coming up. Everything's good. So anyway, guys, that's it. My ducks have a new home. My geese are fixing to go to their new home, and I'm excited about that. So there you have it. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Wave, Mike. There he goes. And remember, stay blessed and safety's off.